This is the 7.1 video. This is a portion of your notes. This is not the first time that we've talked about adding and subtracting polynomials, and it's not the first time that you've seen a lot of this vocabulary, but I wanted to start this chapter 7 out, which is all about polynomial addition, subtraction, multiplication, all of those things, by just reviewing some things that you really need a good foundation with. So remember, a polynomial is just a monomial or a sum of monomials. Remember, that just means that it's going to have, these little terms. A polynomial just means many terms, okay? A monomial is just one term. So like 5x would be one term of the binomial. Notice this is a binomial because there's two parts. A trinomial would then have three terms. So the x squared is a term, the 5x is a term, and the 2 is a term. Terms are separated by addition and subtraction symbols, okay? So that's how you can kind of count the pieces of your polynomial. The degree of a polynomial is the greatest degree of its terms. The degree, remember, that's going to be the exponent. So you want to look at the highest exponent. For example, in this polynomial that they've given us, the degree would be 3, or a cubic, because 3 is the highest exponent. When you have a polynomial in one variable, you're going to put it in standard form, and that means you're going to put it from highest to lowest exponent. So notice that 12 is a constant. That means it's a number without a variable, and that comes last. So there 2x cubed comes first because the exponent of 3 is the largest, then an x squared, then minus 5x plus 12. So 3, 2, 1, and then your constant doesn't have that variable. Whenever you have a polynomial in standard form, the leading coefficient is going to be the coefficient of your first term. So remember, your first term has the highest degree, and that leading coefficient would be the number in front of it. Remember, if you don't see a number, then it's an implied 1. Okay, so this first slide was just vocabulary. I had you guys define the vocabulary associated with 7.1 after you took your Chapter 6 test. So if you have any questions about that, I'm going to be using these words in class, so just stop me for clarification. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get into the review portion of the lesson, and that is, how do we add and subtract polynomials? So here for number 13, you should notice that I have two binomials and they are being added. When you're adding and subtracting polynomials, really all you're doing is you're simplifying. You're combining like terms in order to condense the polynomial. When you have polynomial addition, there's nothing extra that you have to do. You're simply combining like terms. For example, I have a negative 4x and a positive 6x. Negative 4x plus 6x is 2x. Then I have a positive 9 and a negative 14. 9 plus negative 14 would make negative 5. And then this would be my simplified polynomial. Notice that I've written it in standard form. So 2x comes first. That makes my leading coefficient a 2. And then my constant comes second. Okay, this is in the degree, it's a degree 1, and it is also linear. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and look at number 15. It has a few more pieces. This is a trinomial because it has 3 terms being added to another trinomial. When you add polynomials, remember you can only add like terms. So they have to have the same variable with the same exponents. So if I have x squared plus negative x squared, those are going to cancel out. Then I have 3x's and 6x's, which makes 9x's. And then I have 5 plus negative 4, which just makes positive 1. And this would be my simplified polynomial. Once again, leading coefficient is 9. It's in standard form. It's degree 1, and it's a binomial because there's 2 pieces. Now let's talk about subtraction. So when we do polynomial subtraction, you have to remember to distribute the negative. Notice on number 17, I have a binomial minus another binomial. And I see a negative right outside that set of parentheses. That tells me that I need to distribute the negative and rewrite my problem. So I have g minus 4. And then if I distribute the negative, that becomes negative 3g plus 6. Remember, a negative times a positive made a negative, and a negative times a negative became a positive. Now I'm just going to use the same process that I used for adding, so I'm going to combine like terms. I have g minus 3g, which would be negative 2g. I have negative 4 plus 6, which is positive 2. And this would be my final answer at this point. It's a binomial. My leading coefficient is negative 2, and it's degree 1. Because remember, there's a little invisible 1 on that variable there. All right, let's look at the next one. Once again, it is subtraction because I see the subtraction sign outside that set of parentheses, which is telling me to distribute. So I have negative x squared minus 5 plus 3x squared plus x plus 8. Notice all of the signs in the second set of parentheses change to positives because when you do a negative times a negative, it makes a positive. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. So I have a negative x squared plus 3x squared. That makes 2x squared. Now I'm actually going to deal with this plus x next because I want to write my answers in standard form. So remember, your x squared would come first, then your x's, and then last your constant. So since x doesn't have a like term, I just bring it down and it becomes part of my answer. So plus x, and then I have minus 5 plus 8, which would make positive 3. And then this would be my simplified answer. It is a trinomial because there's 3 pieces, degree 2, which is quadratic, and the leading coefficient is also 2. Okay, so hopefully this review was beneficial to you. If you're still struggling with any part of this, please come in for tutoring or go back and rewatch this video or go watch a previously recorded video over combining like terms or adding and subtracting polynomials. You guys have a great day.